call me a breakdown the way my face should see down. Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to the Game Sketch. Today, and only today, look, I know y'all can't get enough of this movie, and neither can I. And so I've decided to do something really dumb and do something really psycho, and that is break down literally every scene from Sonic Movie 3. That said, I've gone to see this movie about 4 or 5 times, and I have actually noted every single scene in the movie. So I figured, why not have a sit down and literally, and I mean literally, discuss every single scene from the movie. And without further ado, let's lock the fuck in. So I did take a lot of notes, and obviously this video is going to be more like a lot of pictures. So let's start with the first thing. So Movie 3 begins with a cold start to Gerald freeing Shadow. This is the opening segment of the movie, which surprising because I actually thought the movie, I thought it was going to start with the flashback. I thought it was going to start with, you know, the Maria Shadow flashback showing what happened, but instead it starts with Shadow being freed on Prison Island, by the way, which I love the shot of Prison Island. I love how it starts with just those two security guards kind of bantering, talking about like, yeah, that guy's just, he's been locked there for like 50 years. He's just like a test tube dummy. And then you see like the Eggman logo right on the machine as he's like trying to break him out. What I love about this is right away, what I love about the movie, it just locks in frame one, right? You have Shadow in, you know, the vault, and you can see right away from the beginning, he is just constantly replaying his life with Maria. Obviously, I am sure anyone who's a fan of this series, of these movies and everything, noticed right away, you know, you see Maria playing the guitar and you hear like, and I love that so much, right? And it's like as he is unleashing, right, you get the boom, getting out of there, causing chaos, you know, destroying everything around him, kicking the guts. I love the shot where like he's kicking all the guts. Look at the last guy that's up, he just kind of uppercuts him into the wall. But man, like what a sick intro for the character. He looks incredible. I wouldn't, you know, change a single thing about him at that start, just cooking everybody. He even destroys the wall of Prison Island. There's this beautiful shot where like he's standing looking at Tokyo from afar. He doesn't say a damn word, right? And then he escapes, starts skating, and then boom, cut to the actual just logo, Sonic Movie 3. Like I said, this opening scene, I love it, right? Because you get the intro that Shadow's theme is live and learn through the whole movie. Really good colors and lighting and everything really early in the movie. Even like you see the handhold between him and Maria right in the beginning, which is in that like white flower field from Shadow Dark Beginnings. It's really cool that this has just become like an established location and thing that Shadow and Maria did together that we never knew about until this year, and I just love it. Right away, we are thrown to Team Sonic, all getting ready for the race. I really like the silly shot where Sonic is wearing his swim gear, right, and the other two are locked in for race. He's just like, oh, I thought we were going teaming. And dude, I gotta say, man, like the colors on this movie are so good. Like when I just saw Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles right away, I'm sure you guys all noticed this too. Like the colors just stand out so well, and I love that, right? And obviously, it's cool that they lock in right away. You have Tom and Maddie, like, you know, getting the race ready, saying like, yo, let's do this. You know, they have a bit of a banter being like, and by the way, we find out in the scene that Tom has brothers who apparently are just, you know, crazy. So that's like a little lore piece, nothing too insane there. And of course, we do have Maddie wearing the pink shirt, and obviously I can't believe the Maddie shirt theory has actually been real. Can't believe it. Movie 1, she wore the yellow shirt, post-credit scene Tails. Movie 2 with the red and black, and the post-credit is Shadow, and now with the pink indicating Amy. Now obviously we had Metal Sonic, which is a different thing, but you know, just a fun little thing. They do a race in the beginning, and man, I gotta say that race that they do early on, what a good showcase of Sonic's personality. Especially I love that little moment where he's running and he does like the backwards run with his hands behind his back. Very Sonic, like just that is very Sonic to me. In general, like I know a lot of people joke about, you know, Sonic's references, but I do think like Sonic's banter and dialogue through, you know, his moments where he's sliding and running are really good. You know, he feels like he's into the character a lot more, and he feels closer to that sort of style. So you get some cool running around. You know, he does the upward grind rail, Knuckles running through, Tails catching up to him, all the way to realizing I love this little thing they do where he runs past the gold post. They even do a thing where Sonic thinks he won the race, and it plays like the da 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 dun 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 dun, and you're seeing right away, just super early on in the movie, how they are starting to incorporate the game music. You know, obviously it's not like 24/7, but already you had that start where Live and Learn is playing, and now you're at a point where they're just playing the victory themes at little moments. Like, it's stuff like that that is just so small that really goes a long way. So Sonic, you know, starts noticing that, you know, Tails and Knuckles are acting weird because they beat him in the race, which doesn't make sense to him, and they're doing the little foot tap, which I'm sure you all noticed, like where they're waiting for him. He starts, you know, messing with them. It's not actually them, it's little holograms Tails has made to distract him, because then Sonic runs through, really like the little speed. You know, I like the display of speed, like when they zoom out to show like a whole mountain and showing like how fast Sonic zips through it. I thought that was really good. And two, you see it is Sonic's birthday, so you know the family is celebrating Sonic's birthday. You got Tails, Knuckles, Tom, Maddie all celebrating, be like, hey, this is the day you came on Earth, which I really thought was, wait, pause, whoa, super cute. And I think it, watching the movie again, right, I love how much it has emphasized the family aspect of the movie. That just like Team Sonic and Tom Maddie are just a family together. They are so adorable. They have dynamics with each other. I don't know. I thought how they did that was super cute. And right away you then get, you know, Sonic and Tom going back to where Sonic used to live, the cave, which is such, like, I don't know. I know it's weird to be nostalgic about a movie franchise that's only 5 years old, right? But, you know, going back to Sonic's old cave where like he has the little nunchucks, they hit him. Nice little callback to the first movie, right? And of course, he sees the drawing on the wall. Longclaw would be proud of you. You know, you didn't change who you were in here, despite, you know, feeling upset and feeling, you know, maybe potential anger, right? When that's obviously a theming in the movie. I just love the theme of the movie being like, yeah, like Sonic has experienced, you know, pain and loss, right? But it didn't change who he was. He was able to find friendship. He was able to find love, and, you know, he wasn't alone. And even in the time he was alone, right, back in the day, he was, you know, watching how Green Hills was. So I don't know, really cute little thing that they do early on. And I think it's just cool to remind us that like Sonic has lost Longclaw. You get the moment where Sonic's like, you know, I don't know what I would do without you. I'd probably be a completely different hedgehog. Cutting to then Shadow walking in the rain. By the way, beautiful shot. I feel like they just did that to flex, right? I feel like the shot of Shadow in the rain, they completely just did that to flex, you know, the effects that they've got. And he finds himself in the middle of Shibuya, which it was cool because I've been to Shibuya earlier this year. And you see, it is the year 2024. So the movies do take place in modern day, as we expect them to be. But yeah, Gun is surrounding him and he's just mad. He's just like, why won't you leave me alone? And like it locks him to the zoom in. We don't see him cook everybody, but it's pretty much implied that he cooks every single person there. And then, dude, this is the thing about this movie is like, it just goes because like it right away cuts back to Team Sonic, right, chilling, having a campfire, being like, yeah, man, everything is nice and calm. And then the gun helicopter pulls up and like shit's already starting, right? You get this fun little bit of dialogue I like where, you know, Director Rockwell, she clearly doesn't like them and she tells them like aliens, and he's just like, we're not aliens. Wait, just because we're from completely different. Okay, I guess we're aliens. Never mind. You know, I like that little banter. He even has a moment where he thinks he did something wrong. Like Tails is like, "What did you do?" It's like, I don't know. I do a lot of things. You know, they're told, "Hey, something's attacking in Tokyo," and thus we find ourselves right away into the helicopter. See, I do like Tom and Maddie saying goodbye. Be like, "Make good choices." I love and that's like a constant theme in the movie, right? Is like making good choices, the right choice in order, you know, to stay good with the powers they have, because they do have a lot of powers. So we then cut to them on their way to Shibuya. They've gone through the portal ring, obviously, like that trailer bit where Tails like, where should we start? You know, let's start with the giant fireball. And I'm sure, and I know you all know this, right? We all lost our minds collectively, right, at the helicopter scene, because I feel like the helicopter scene goes above and beyond, because you get the dynamic of Team Sonic, right? You get Sonic, Tails like, all right, we're gonna do this, and then Knuckles is just like, and I will do this because I am one, and they're all saying 1,000,000% muscle. Like, I love just that they have a banter back and forth. They do the fist bump where they're all like Team Sonic, and Knuckles like Team Knuckles, and Knuckles stands out so much in this movie. He is endlessly charming to me. I'm sure you all love how Knuckles is in this movie, right? Director Rockwell looking at them and Sonic saying, talk about low budget flights, no food or movies, we gotta get out of here. And obviously it wasn't 1-to-1, but it was such a good line placement, right? Because I feel like there were people, when I was talking to people that didn't know, they're just like, oh, that's like a funny line. But for us, I remember at the premiere hearing like a bunch of people, only the real ones are like, oh, like they heard the thing. And it's funny whenever I go to a theater just to hear who knows it, because obviously, like, anyone who has played SA2 even more than once has heard that line and loves that line. It's a small thing and makes you realize, like, damn, like, they really were going for a Sonic Adventure 2 vibe, even if it's not a one-to-one with City Escape, because I do think replacing City Escape with, you know, a Tokyo mission, I think is a fair trade. You get the shot of them jumping out the helicopter, which really cool, by the way, when they're playing the song Neon by 10K Rock, who actually did the song for Vandalize for Sonic Frontiers. So it's cool that they sort of have a relationship with Sega on multiple songs. But I love, like, them, just the superhero shot of them jumping down the helicopter, landing together. Tails, again, the team dynamic, right? Tails sort of carrying both of them like it's heroes, right? Superhero landing shot. Even like, you know, Aura was watching with me and she's like, oh, it's the thing from Heroes. So cool little stuff there. And like I said, it locks it. They're looking all around. They see everything destroyed. You get Shadow. So they weirdly do the Faker thing from Sonic Adventure 2. He's like, I found you, Faker. But obviously they changed it here. He's just like, what, Sonic? He looks like you. And Sonic's like, why do you look like me? And then Shadow's like, why do you look like me? And then Sonic's just like, I'm asking the questions here. Who are you? Why do you look like me? So obviously it is not one-to-one, but it's definitely like an ode to that scene, right? And you can tell right away, and I really love this, right, where Shadow isn't necessarily like just against them because they exist, right? It's because he noticed they jumped out of the gun helicopter, right? Because he says, he's just like, you know, you jumped out of a gun helicopter. There's nothing to talk about, right? And obviously, like, you can just tell anything associated with gun for him. He's just like, done. Like, he's just like, I'm not gonna talk to anyone dealing with this. And of course, we then get into the fight scene. You know, Knuckles goes, I love this entire scene because it is just go, go, go. It's the shot you've all seen where Knuckles tries to go for it. Shadow beats his ass, bro. And they're like, all right, he can't take us all at once. And they literally all get cooked one by one. I do wish that Team Sonic had gotten a bit more action. Like, obviously, you know, it's meant to show how powerful Shadow is, but like Knuckles and Tails, like, they at least tried to get one good hit in, it would have been cool. But obviously they want to show at that point that Shadow is unstoppable because, you know, Shadow does the thing where he beats them all up, grabs Sonic into the air, push him down. Sonic does actually the death shot from the Shadow the Hedgehog opening, and obviously Shadow goes weaklings and he walks away, gets on the motorcycle, kicks the gun with his foot and grabs it. Still the rawest shit ever. I feel like, you know, they could have theoretically saved the gun shot. I think regardless, him having it is huge. And I love, by the way, you right away get the sense that Sonic is not fully committed to teamwork yet, right? Because, you know, Sonic gets ready to run after him as Shadow goes on the motorcycle, because Shadow says, like, don't follow me, like, get away. Until Sonic's getting ready for it, until it's like, no, don't go. I know that look. And Sonic's like, when does that ever stop me? Starts chasing him. And of course, if you've seen this movie, this chase is awesome, because I feel like this is when you can really tell the team has just had so much fun learning and understanding Sonic running, right? Like the way Sonic runs on the wall into the spin dash, right? He jumps through the truck into slow motion with the chill head look he's got going on, right? And then he's trying to banter with Shadow, be like, yo, who does your highlights? And Shadow be like, the more you talk, the harder I want to hit you. But I just love that you see Shadow, you infusing his chaos energy to the motorcycle as Sonic is holding on to it. They teleport. And then, of course, the shot we've been seeing in all these trailers, them going up the building. But what I loved about them going up the building, and they hit this in the trailers, is them like bumping into each other. And there's one shot that's like so anime where Sonic is spin dashing into the wheel of the motorcycle as they're both spinning into each other. And it is just so cool, right? And of course, you then get the shot of them going upwards. Sonic falls. Shadow, I still can't believe this is a real thing, you know? Shadow, Akira sliding on the side of a building, launching himself upwards, and Sonic launching himself, and they go, boom. I wish there was actually like some hand-to-hand combat, but they end up, you know, blowing up everything around them, leading a shot of the entire city shutting down. For a first set piece entirely, like, I just thought it was so fucking good, because really, now, obviously, now that we're looking back, this is kind of like their only fight until the end of the movie. Now, granted, this movie is like a few set pieces away from the big moment, but obviously this fight has been, the marketing piece. So obviously they talk about, regrouping, and Tails says, I have somewhere we can go, and they end up at the Chow Garden, which I love. This is a smart move, I think, right? Just having the idea of the Chow Garden be like this restaurant, right? Very good reference, obviously, to the Chow Garden, but I love the Chows being these like fun little Japanese mascots, right? Just them having the little dinner, and it's not a scene. I feel like this was a scene they could have really dragged on, right? But for the most part, it's just them chilling there, right? But it's not a scene where like they have a dance number, they go crazy in it. Instead, they end up sitting there talking to the director, Olive Garden guy, telling him right away about Shadow, family, and all this stuff. Like Shadow only had pain, and so we get the short version of Shadow's backstory, right? So interesting right here that the lore in this one is not that Shadow was created by Gerald. Instead, he's straight up an alien meteorite crashed onto Earth. And obviously the meteor itself kind of looks like the Black Comet, right? And I do love, one thing I really adore, and I'm sure you all notice this, is he is describing Shadow. He's just like the ultimate life form, right? And the thing cracks open, you see only his eye, almost like he's like a Godzilla type alien, monster landed onto Earth. So I thought that show was really cool. But yeah, no, the lore here is different. It's that Shadow landed on Earth in Oklahoma, right? And of course, they tried to use his power until they realized at some point it was too much, right? You have the raid on the gun place, which they elaborate a bit on later in the movie. But yeah, you basically get the short version of it, right? Where you find out that, he was actually there back in the day when Shadow was being experimented on, until the events, obviously, that lead to, Gunn having to shut down because, Shadow is too much. They had to shut down the project. And then they lock up Shadow because he's just too powerful, and they put him in that pod. And one thing I love about that moment where they put Shadow in the pod is him looking left and right, and then like he sort of looks at him and he does like the eye glow as like he's going down, which I thought was just super cool, right? And of course, Sonic's just like, damn, if he was locked up for 50 years, like someone had to free him, being like, well, only few people know about his existence. And then right away, we get to this like funny bit, which you guys all know, right? Where like the lights dim, right? They open, and really funny moment where they play a Japanese version of the Jackson 5 song. You have the Eggbots finally back, and you're like, oh, Eggman's attack. You get, laser attacks, and they do something interesting here where I don't understand this still. And you guys, leave me your comments. Commander Walters kind of gets cooked. And like I said, I got no idea if he's dead or not. He gives Sonic one of the key for the Eclipse scanning, the most dangerous weapon, which we then find out later there's two of them. I still don't know if Commander Walters is dead. I mean, you guys could let me know. My theory is he's not dead, because later in the movie, when Kristen Ritter's character sees him as like the fake clone, she's not like, you're supposed to be dead. She's kind of just like, oh, Commander Walters, like I'm surprised to see you, as if like he left the hospital early. But alas, they do this bit where he faints. You then get the motorcycle moment where we know it's Agent Stone, but we don't know it yet technically, where he comes in, destroys all the Eggbots, which they do end up following him. They end up chasing him. And now one thing that was interesting is this part is where they set up Gunn being against Sonic, right? Because you get Director Rockwell going to the scene, seeing the picture that they took at the place in Commander Walters' pocket, and be like, I knew I couldn't trust them. So right away, you got to see how like the turnaround happens, and then you get a shot of Sonic, Tails, Knuckles with like the Chow hats on that they take off, being like, hey, we can't trust anybody till we get answers. They end up following Mr. Motorcycle Head all the way there till they get to the pier. I love this moment. You guys, I'm sure, do too, right? Where he takes off the vest, like, right? And Sonic says, all right, Tokyo Drift, slow down. Which, to be fair, Tokyo Drift is a good reference. He can let that one slide. But yeah, takes off the mask, like, Shadow Knuckles like, it's the Gold Milker, and then Agent Stone's like, it's the Gold Milker. Relax. I don't know, that back and forth was just really funny between them. I'm sure you guys also really liked it. But yeah, he's telling them like, what's going on? How is Eggman involved? And then he's just like, the doctor's not involved with this one, and I can prove it. Bringing out the egg crab, and then going inside of Eggman's egg ship. It cuts right away to this thing called La Última Pasión, over dramatic show where like the girl's just like, I'm dating someone else, and they do this bit, and you see Eggman is washed, right, fat, right away. I mean, we all know Jim Carrey is having fun with these movies. He turns around, yells, sees them. It is basically a one-to-one to the first trailer where they see Eggman and they're like, dude, what happened to you? Like, this is sad. Agent Stone tells him like, yo, someone's stealing your technology, because it wasn't his Eggman stuff. And obviously Jim Carrey be like, let's get my egg sacs back, you know what I'm saying? And of course, little banter. I do like the Team Sonic and Eggman banter, where very much like the games, you know, where sometimes they have to work with Eggman. You get to like, oh god, I guess we'll do this. It was very reminiscent of the games to me. I'm sure you guys noticed that too, because in the games they often had to work together, but it's always kind of like begrudgingly, where it's just like, I guess we'll do this for this one time, right? And so they agree to work together, but Eggman tells Sonic on one condition. Sonic hands him the quill. Now, obviously, man, this quill thing is still a big question mark, because Sonic's quill is so powerful that I just wonder what he did with that quill. Is that how we end up getting Metal Sonic in the post-credit scene later on? Does it have something to do with it? I don't know, but it could just be like a silly gag where he's just like addicted to it, but it could lead to that ultimate power needed for Metal Sonic that maybe he was working on with Stone or something. Shadow is actually walking to the gun base. He spots Maria's rollerblade, and that is how we begin our official backstory of Shadow and Maria's friendship together. So I love how this starts. I'm sure you guys do too, where you just see Maria sort of roller skating 50 years ago, which right away, I mean, if you're a fan of this stuff, like even me, like I freaked out the second she had the roller skates, because I was like, oh, like that's how they contextualize it back then, right? Where she was just roller skating around, right? And then she, you know, she has her stuff, and you can tell back then Commander Walters was like so sweet, because she's roller skating, some guy's like, hey, stop it. And then Commander Walters is like, hey, don't worry, like that's Professor Gerald's granddaughter, like he loves her, brings her around everywhere, like let her go through. And yeah, she goes through, she finds Shadow in the pot, and man, this scene, Maria approaches and he looks dangerously, and right away, I love that they did this. It's such a small thing, like he looks begrudgingly at her, and then she just makes fun of it, like, she's like, and then he's like, what? Like, you're not scared of me? Like, right away, just laughing it off, and it confuses him. And then she does that thing where, like, she draws the little face right in front of him, and she's laughing about it. And right away, man, you could just tell, like, I don't know, because Shadow, I guess, can't really talk yet at that point, right? And so he's kind of like an alien, or like not even a monster, like a pet, right? Just like learning, you know, that someone that doesn't want to hurt him is like, is sort of enjoying him, right? And she does like the hand thing on the glass to his glass, and of course you would then get into sort of montage territory, and she has like a really cool song that plays throughout my heart, because I feel like there's something so unique about going into a scene and knowing what's going to happen, right? Like I feel like I was into that scene just knowing like obviously she's gonna die, but just seeing their dynamic made my heart like melt, right? So they do this thing, you know, where like she's teaching him how to dance, he's roller skating with her, like she has a rope on him and he's running around. They do like a bit where, like, you know, like they run into desserts and they're doing like the funny snowman bit. Like there's moments where the doctors are testing on Shadow, and you know, she swaps stuff with him and she ends up just going and running and having fun with him instead, like just showing their dynamic. There's one moment where, of course, if you're a fan of this shit, they are watching a movie together, which is like a Godzilla-like movie, but the Godzilla monster is the bio lizard, which I thought was such a good way to incorporate it, because it ends up being not just like a reference, but it ends up being something that makes Shadow sad, because when he looks at it, it's like, beware the alien freak monster, like he gets upset about it. You know, you can tell Maria like sees him get upset and she feels bad. They go up to sort of that biodome, you know, the white flowers with the starry sky, and you get their first like cute moment together, right, where you get, you know, him the dialogue between them. A light shines even if the star is gone, which I thought, I don't know, there's something really cute about that, because Maria's just talking about like, damn, like a star could just, you know, disappear one day, but the light of it is still there. And Shadow's just like, you know, Shadow's talking to her, just being like, do you think I'm a monster? Am I a freak? Like they look at me and see me. And you get that moment, right, the sort of tie-in to Sonic moment, right, where like she says like, all that matters is who you are here, right? Like, you're my friend. I don't care where you're from, who you are. And man, just, it really hits you on the heartstrings, right? Where like, you know, Shadow literally says like, I don't know what I'd do without you. But it's so cute seeing, and we've been seeing this more often, like, it's cute seeing this side of Shadow that was like happy, you know, was dancing, literally, was smiling, was literally, you know, doing, you know, snow angels on the ground, right? Like, was, you know, vulnerable watching movies. It's so cute. And so it hurts it so much when that turn happens. But of course, like, you totally understand where he is coming from. I mean, this is the one person he put all his care into, and when they're holding each other's hands as they're looking into the song, and then the song plays like din 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 din, and I really like the sort of tone shift they go to, where like the song stops playing and it cuts to modern time, where it's like the gun lab is completely fucked and Shadow's just walking around it. But I will say, like, talking about the flashback moment, the one thing that I don't know, I didn't think about it on my first or second time, but I don't know how I feel about it, was they removed the plot line of Maria being sick, which obviously they kind of had to do, because in the original, it's the idea that they go, I mean, the gun place, or, you know, the arc is a place that, you know, Maria goes and stays in because the atmosphere helps it so that she doesn't die. I don't know how I feel about that necessarily. I think because of Shadow's movie, because technically in the original, Shadow exists as a cure to Maria, but because here they went with the route of Shadow being an alien, I'm okay with it, because it is still a really good take on the character. It's just not completely the original. I think they knew that oh, by the way, I was right. I know I'm getting ahead of myself in these scenes, but I was right. Maria does explode. Everybody give me my flowers. I know, I was right. Thank you. I know I'll be here all week, but don't worry about me. Cut forward to modern daylight. Shadow's just walking around, you know, the abandoned gun studio, touching the pod that he was out of, and then you have, you know, he locks in for a second, right? Electricity when he hears footsteps, and it is Gerald in the shadows being like, Shadow, I knew you'd come back. And Shadow's just kind of like, Professor, it's too much for me, the pain. And obviously right away Gerald manipulating Shadow, being like, that's why we must get our revenge. And it sounds a little cartoony, but again, it is Eggman being Eggman. It then cuts to Team Sonic and Team Eggman coming in from a portal, where Sonic and Eggman come out of the portal, right? And he's like, all right, buddy, you don't like me and I don't like you, so let's just get this done and push. And then Eggman pushes him and says, like, move it, Dorcupine. He's like, Dorcupine, real creative. I don't know, there's something about that back and forth that's funny. Eggman wants to like calculate the door, Knuckles just punching it open, which again, pretty funny dynamic there. You have Shadow right away noticing something's up, and then, you know, Joe's like, whoa, let's chill. You know, I was expecting these guys, let's give them, you know, a proper welcome. And so they do this bit where, you know, very Scooby-Doo moment where they're like, all right, let's split up. I like Eggman. He's just like, all right, all the weird furry creatures go that way, me and Stone go this way. And Sonic's like, no, I'm gonna go with you. Knuckles, you go solo. Tails, Stone, you go another way, right? And again, I like when Sonic and Eggman banter, right? When he's just like, oh yeah, you know, you could work on your trust issues. And Sonic's like, oh yeah, it's Sonic, you tried to kill me twice before. So I like the moment where they all split their ways. And before that, which is really cool, I like when they walk in and they take, again, this is the Sonic Adventure 2-isms, where you have the moment where Knuckles back in the day fights the ghost boss, which that's not a thing, but they take the ghost theming and continue it, right? Because you have your Stone be like, what's wrong? You're afraid of ghosts, right? And Knuckles is just like, I am not afraid of ghosts. And then it flashes to Knuckles, Sonic, and Tails watching Casper and all of them be like, ah, like it is. I love how, you know, obviously when it comes to like the Family Guy cut to an old moment or random moment is, you know, sometimes funny, but I felt like it was perfect because they did it one time. I thought the one time they did it was hysterical, right? Because it cuts to them be like, I'm not afraid of ghosts, and then watching the movie and them like freaking out about it. Ah! And it's like Casper of all movies, and Knuckles like, there's no such thing as a friendly ghost, which I don't know, that to me was just hella cool. So Knuckles walking alone, clearly afraid. You then get Shadow showing up in the dark, be like, boo, and him freaking out, right? It then cuts to Stone and Tails, which I thought this was super cute. I'm sure you all did too. And he's just like, I'm just gonna come out right and say it. you're adorable. Like, I thought that was so funny, right? I genuinely thought that was funny. And you then see sort of our first human moment with Agent Stone, right? Where, you know, Tails is just like, because Agent Stone, he sees everything in the lens as he lives. He's like, so are you like, do you get paid time off? Like, how is it like working with Sonic? And then Tails just like, we're best friends. We're like a family, you know, I'm the smarts, the brains, and all that, right? And we're like best friends. It's like you and the doctor, right? And then you have something like, yes, like me and the doctor. And obviously he gets really sad, and obviously, you know, the dynamic, obviously Agent Stone is a lovable character, right? But you feel for him in that moment. You're like, oh man, like, you know, now Eggman feels about you and stuff. So they do that, right? And then of course you have Shadow just like slowly coming downwards, right? And scares the shit out of them. Obviously he's like going and trapping them. Now, Sonic and Eggman find the room that Maria and Shadow grew up in. Sonic be like, this like was a home for someone, right? He grabs that picture of Shadow and Maria holding each other. He's just like, oh, like Shadow had somebody he cared about, right? And he tells Eggman, like, you ever think about how you would have been if you had a family, right? Maybe you wouldn't have gone super villain. I like Eggman there being like, no, I'm not desirable to all genders, which, you know, means he's open to all genders. But I like Eggman already having he's tied to himself at that point. He's just like, you know, and that means the Gerald name ends with moi. Yes, I know French. Then he fucking eats the corn. He does this little psycho shit. But yeah, Sonic ends up wandering on his own, being like, damn, no wonder you're so grumpy, Shadow. Right? And then, bro, Shadow right away, back shot into Sonic, right? Just right away, just grabbing him, putting him there like, why won't enough of it out of you, bro? He fucking tosses him into the wall and then goes, and punches him. And it cuts away to the next shot, which I really love. God, why do I know this movie shot for shot? I love this line where Eggman's just like, where are you, Hedgehog? I wasn't done trauma dumping. I thought that was cool. Eggman finds the egg bots, right? They activate, and then, right, you have the moment, the reveal, which is Gerald coming in, right, singing some random song, Eggman being confused, and then the confrontation between Eggman and Gerald. And man, I gotta say, bro, crazy impressive what Jim Carrey did. Like, I cannot believe how they did this, where like he had to like, obviously it's green screen, but like that he really did have to like record each scene, like standing on one side, standing on another, like knowing what he was saying in that scene. Obviously they play it back, like the hand gestures where they're doing that thing where he's just like, you look like me. Why do you look like me? He tells him you're his grandfather, and he gives the lore drop that he is 110. So no time travel shenanigans, no cryosis shenanigans here. He is just old as fuck in this movie and survived somehow, right? He gives a bit of the backstory about how he was put in prison, right? You obviously see all the crazy writings on the wall. You have that moment between them where they're like, if you're my grandfather, prove it. What's the craziest equation, right? E squared equals this equals that, right? Name every European country by the second word. And he's just talking like very like quick back and forth Eggman edition, right? And then they have that moment that I think because it's Jim Carrey, it's fine, where he's just like, it's as if we're the same person playing a different role in a movie. And that was very, to me, again, because it was Jim Carrey having fun, I thought that was hella funny. It then cuts to Team Sonic tied up all together, right? He wakes up from being fainted, seeing, you know, Eggman and Gerald walking together, and Sonic's just like, you gotta be kidding me, bro. There's two Eggman. He says, the W villains, double your fun, right? And yeah, so they give a bit of that explanation. Shadow, I love the moment here where Shadow's just like, give me the keys. Just like, you think we're getting, and he's like, nice try, Hot Topic. You think I'd bring that key to you? And he holds it. Okay, I guess we're stupid enough to bring that to you. Gerald explains what he's planning to do with the key, right? How he was trapped. Eclipse cannon. Shadow has that mini bomb, and I just love this moment where Sonic's like, yo, Shadow, like, you don't have to do this. I know you're hurting, right? But don't let it change who you are. And then Shadow says a key line, right? That, of course, again, if you're a fan of this shit, just like me, right? He's just like, I relived what they did to me for 50 years. This is who I am. And he said that this is who I am. He drops the bomb, teleports into the ship, and of course Team Sonic struggling for a moment, you know, as that black hole is there. Again, this is what you saw in the trailer a little bit, right? Where, you know, Knuckles fucking got gripped, right? You know, my man chewing that bar, trying not to escape. Anyways, they do the trick shot with the ring, get teleported out of the mountain, right? You see the mountain get completely obliterated, showing the amount of power they'll be able to have. Also, I forgot to mention, like, this is where Gerald explains to Sonic what they plan to do with the Eclipse scan, just saying, like, we're just gonna destroy Gun. So the next scene is Gerald and Eggman in the ship together. Do you want to have a family bonding session, right? And you get the moment, right, where, like, I love this, where, like, he's just like, what can we do with a day with each other? And he does the thing where he looks up cheesily, Gerald, like, zoom in, and I love how Agent Stone tries to join in with them, and Gerald, like, Eggman hits him right in the stomach, just like, oh, and then you get the flashback, not flashback, you get the sort of montage, which you find out later is in VR, but very cute montage, because, you know, you have moments like them biking at a birthday party. Of course, if you're into this stuff like me, there's the moment where they're on a roller coaster, and you see the Eggman Land logo, which I thought was awesome. I saw that, I was like, oh, it's Eggman Land, it's the thing, which I thought that was a clever way or a place to put Eggman Land. But yeah, they have that moment together, right? And you have, you know, them sitting on the bench. You have then Stone coming up to them with the drink, clearly, you know, feeling uninvited, dropping it in the garbage, taking the VR headset, just looking so sad and replaced and feeling like unloved, you know, just it hurts so much, especially when you realize that, like, Stone really is the only person that cares about this guy, man. It then cuts to Tom and Maddie in their house. By the way, I love that Tom and Maddie's leitmotif is just Green Hill Zone, because it's the second time that when you're in their house, you just hear, like, do 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 do, and I just love the idea of Tom and Maddie being this, like, lame married couple that, like, he's just wearing a Donut Lord shirt, they're, like, crafting stuff, building stuff, and just like, yeah, no, just, you know, we have so much hobbies, you know, we have so much good alone time, like, now we have time to relax. And obviously, Sonic and the Tom, Maddie, we have a top secret mission, like you see, and they're just like, I'm in. We'll do whatever you want. And then we get one of my favorite bits, which is this little puppet that Tom has. Again, I love Tom and Maddie. We rewatched these movies recently, and I just love Tom and Maddie. Of all the human characters, they're my favorite, which is why I'm so happy they focused on them this time. There's no Rachel plotting. Rachel obviously shows up in a cool way once we get to that scene, but just really cute stuff here where, like, he makes, like, a puppet of it. Tom makes a puppet of himself, and Sonic's like, what is that? He's just like, what? It's little Tom. And Matt's just like, please put it down. Please, like, get rid of it. And then he's just like, I told him to get rid of you. I don't know. And he'll just be like, sorry. Just that dynamic was cute. And then they are planning the heist in London. So, you know, they're saying there's a plan to raid the gun headquarters. There's a giant force field in the middle of it. You know, Tails talking how he wants to deactivate it. I do like how the bit that where they explain it, where, you know, you see Sonic running, he gets obliterated. You just see the shoes on the ground. Sonic's just like, what just happened? When they're talking about who's gonna do what, they pull up actually the character select screen from Sonic Mania, which I thought was super dope. I love that little bit where they show, like, the UI of Mania. Very just video game like segment where they're talking about what the plan should be like. What are they gonna do? Talk about, you know, how Knuckles can just go in, destroy it. You do have Maddie. You know, I also like they show, like, the laser room. They show Sonic running in, doing some cool tricks in there. You do have Maddie saying, like, wouldn't this just be easier if Sonic just went into Super 4? But she drops, like, the little VR Sonic into, and you see him turn Super, which I thought he does it the same way the game does, where, like, he charges up. They agree and say, no, we're not using the emeralds. We agreed, took an oath. You know, Knuckles being like, I took a sworn oath that anyone who uses it will be an enemy of I. It is protected with somebody, which we end up seeing, obviously, who it's protected by later. But yeah, so you get the planning scene, and then they're just like, well, I guess we're going to, boom, you get London, which is sort of like the middle scene of the movie. Again, like I said, this movie just kind of move. We're just constantly moving. So Eggman, Shadow, Gerald, all standing together in London, right? You have Shadow being like, Professor, let me go in there. Let me do this. I want revenge. Like, he is still taken by revenge. And Gerald's like, yo, chill, man. Like, yo, we'll do our thing, right? You don't worry. You'll be part of this, right? And Eggman saying, like, come on, Granddad. Like, we got dirt to do. And they're saying they're gonna go do their thing. You know, we're still until Shadow, like, hey, you know, Shadow, I've got some avocados and stuff. Let's make some guac. And then Shadow's just like, revenge guac. I did not see it. I'm telling you, in the theater, got me crazy. It's there's something just so funny about it, because there's 2 or 3 moments where Shadow's really funny in the movie, because for the most part everything he does is pretty serious. But man, that one, the revenge guac line, is just such it just, I feel like someone just thought about it that day in the studio, and it's just so good. I mean, Keanu Reeves is just fantastic, by the way. Like, every time he said something, I was so happy. Every movement, everything about him just looks perfect. I wouldn't change a strand of hair on his body. And so I love that they framed this as a heist where you have Team Sonic talking about the plan. You have Tails, all right, we all in place. You have Sonic chilling on a roof board and he looks really cool. You have Knuckles all the way up on the Big Ben. They're all talking about, all right, Sonic, I'm gonna wait till Tom and Maddie pull up the force field, right? And once you do that, you're gonna run in. And then Sonic's like, all right. And Knuckles, like, you're gonna break the glass in case of emergency. And Knuckles just like, I will shatter the glass and destroy it and make it my enemy. And they're just like, in case of emergency, right? And then it's just like, yeah, we'll do it, and then I'll break the glass in case of emergency. Like it does like a sort of cheesy superhero cut where like you see like Sonic slide into the frame, like, yeah, he gets it. Like stuff like that for me was just super cute. And again, just Team Sonic having a dynamic is so nice because we really don't get Team Sonic dynamic stuff in the games. I mean, it's been so long. I would say maybe since 06, maybe in like one of the cutscenes in the game, like when they're together, is really the last time we got Team Sonic dynamic. But I felt like here was a perfect balance, since even maybe Heroes where they're bantering, they're having a funny back and forth, but they're working together. It's like, I think this is one of the aspects that I would love to see the movie sort of tackle, which is sort of just the dynamic and relationship between Team Sonic. So we get the genius moment here where Tom and Maddie are the ones that are going into gun headquarters, but the way they do it is they have these little things that like change their faces and they swap bodies into Rachel and Randall from movie 2, which I thought this was genius because we were thinking about it in the chain when they gave the posters for those characters. We were like, how are they gonna fit all of them? Like, is it gonna be a weird thing? But no, it was genius how they did it. They basically framed as it's still Tom and Maddie as them, right? And they go in there and you still, that way you still get the dynamics, right? You get like Rachel be like, so help me Tom, you know, you ruined my wedding, I will destroy you. And then I love when Tom turns into Randall, just like, I am Randall and I am too much to handle, welcome to the gun show. Like he's just having fun with him. They walk in together, gun being like, you guys can't go in. I love Rachel just being like, do you know what gun stands for? And he's just like, of course, Guardian Unit. And she's like, no, getting ultra nasty. Do you want to see me get ultra nasty? Nasty. I don't know, that whole thing was, I thought was super funny. Again, this is the moment where like it's a family friendly movie. Not everything could just be like lock it a clock there, where they could just have fun with some of these scenes, and I love it. They get clearance to go past security and everything, like I said, is kind of moving really fast, right? So they go in there. I love Team Sonic being bored. Like Sonic's like, come on guys, like I'm so bored. And it's very Sonic like too, like to just be like bored, right? Like taking something taking its time, right? Even Knuckles be like, is it time to break things? And it's like, no. And he gets sad about it, right? They get into the key room. I really thought that morphing thing, by the way, was gonna lead to something else later. Obviously it leads to a very important story part, but I thought it was gonna lead to Rockwell maybe being another character. Some people thought she might have been Rouge, which I thought was cool. But regardless, they go into, you know, the server room where they put the key, and I love this little thing they do where, you know, just old things where they put it in, Tails like, it doesn't work, and then they just blow on it and put it back. He's like, Tom, there's no scientific explanation that works, and that it like actually works, which is cool. Nothing happens, and then they notice right next to them is an Eggman key. And of course, if you are a dork just like me, you notice right away that Eggman's USB key is the exact keys from Sonic Adventure 2 Pyramid Cave level or whatever. So I thought that was just like a little cool little reference. I noticed it right away, and I was like, it's the thing. It then follows up with them noticing, obviously, that the key is in there, swapping to the Eggman, right? You have the Eggman sort of, you know, hiding, you know, trying to sneak into the base. You have a sort of moment again where you see Gerald is a bit evil, where like, you know, Eggman's like, where are you, granddad? And this, when he pops, he's just like, if you weren't my grandson, I could have gutted you like a fish. He's just like, you know, let's just go. And they go into the laser room, and the laser room, of course, a funny scene. I'm sure you guys, this is the one that I know, it's crazy, right? I've talked to a lot of people where, you know, I think a lot of the hardcore fans like, this went on a little too long, but casuals and people just love this scene. They think it's hysterical. This is the scene where, you know, they're moving around the lasers, right? And again, you can see a bit of that nefarious side of Eggman, where he pushes Gerald in to see if the lasers will fry him or not, and they don't. They reflect, and the way they do it is this sort of laser light show where I have fun with it, right? It's just like, don't look back, everybody wanna I don't know. You guys let me know in the comments below how you felt about that, but I was okay with it. It definitely like takes you out of it a little bit, right? Which I think you just gotta accept with these movies, there's always gonna be that a little bit. Critics and casuals and everything love Jim Carrey. Like, to them, that like that is hysterical. That's Jim Carrey being Jim Carrey. Like, he can kind of do what he wants, right? And he kind of went overboard. I think obviously here he's playing two roles, so he's having fun. Boom, anti-gravity, and then you see Team Sonic be like, all right, it is our time to get in here, right? Sonic goes for the run. Now, this segment I love so much because go listen to the soundtrack, guys. I think it is called Gun Control. This is actually where City Escape plays, and no one really notices it because it's hard to tell when you watch it, right? But it plays subtly as Sonic is running for the city. But this segment to me was so Sonic-like, right? Where Sonic's like, all right, I'm gonna go do this. He starts running, but again, in Sonic fashion, he's like, I gotta go check the sights. I love how he does the Beatles cover where he's just like, oh man, the other guy, right? And he does like all their poses from the album cover, which I thought was amazing. I love that shot, right? He's going through, the past, be like, sees me coming through, governor, and then it's just like, oh, is that Harry Potter, right? He's wearing like a cape, in there, right? He gives it to one of the guards running in, and then he just locks in. I don't know, just to me, a very Sonic-like dynamic there, where knows exactly what he's doing. He's confident, he's cocky, right? And he's trying to run in. He goes for like the swing jump over there, right? And he's just like, I'm not gonna make it. And then Tails swoops in, gives him a nice spin, and he spin dashes inwards. And again, you get more cool Sonic movement, right? Where like he's sort of running through, he's doing some spin, like, excuse me, coming through, and he gets to the Eggman, right? Pulls up to the Eggman. They go into this anti-gravity chamber where the Eggman get pushed down. Sonic gets pushed up, and Director Rockwell's like, well, you all fell for my trap. I knew y'all would be there, right? I knew you would try to get this key. Give me this one. I get Director Rockwell is trying to stop them, but I don't know what it is about the movie that makes it seem like she's more important than she is, but it's not real. They don't even do that much with her. It's not like they try to give her evil motives. It's just, she's kind of just like, I don't trust these people. And there's not really much action going on. There's a silly moment where like the director and Eggman are sliding to get the key that's on the gun, which I thought was pretty funny. They do this bit where, the giant rock is gonna fall on Tom and Maddie, right? But Sonic obviously spin dashes to it. Like I said, this is probably the weaker set piece of the movie. The movie is so fast that really that entire segment is really short. And so Sonic spin dashes, saves Tom, Maddie. I feel like from this to the end, it is purely lock in a clock because Sonic saves them. The anti-grav room shuts down. Director Rockwell gets the key, runs out, right? And Sonic's just like, well, you guys might got to take care of this. So Tom then does the body morph thing, changes into Commander Walters to go see Director Rockwell and says like, give me the key. This is an order. And then this is the crazy part. She gives him the key and we never see her ever again. Really? There's like no conclusion with this character, whether like she trusts Team Sonic or not, or like what happens to her. Like, it's very clear they leave the door open for her to come back. I think she will come back. And like I said in my discussion about the future of these movies is that I hope that she ends up being like a character that works with Rouge, right? Or there's some sort of antagonist to Team Sonic and his control of Gun for the most part. But I don't know how much power she has because I don't know if Commander Walters is dead or not. Like, that's the weird question mark that they leave you watching this movie. Anyways, so Tom has the key, right? He's talking to Sonic. He's just like, Sonic, guys, I got the key. We can get out of here. But because he looks like Commander Walters, Shadow jumps in, right? Sees Commander Walters. He's obviously like, I don't fucking like this guy, right? And then he goes for the punch. He's just like, wait. But I really thought this was a clever way to do it because it's very clear Shadow wouldn't just hurt a random person, right? He would hurt someone that is from Gun. And so seeing Commander Walters, his instinct is to just punch him, knock him out. Or Sonic comes in, he's just like, no. And then he's standing over Tom, worried about him, and it gets Shadow seeing Maria back then on the ground. He's just like, Maria, wait. And just the parallels between them, so incredible how they do that moment, because you have that moment where Shadow's just like, whoa, wait. And then Sonic tells him like, what did you do? What I had to. And then he teleports out into the ship, right? Where, well, actually he goes to see Gerald and Eggman, where, he gives them the key. They have both of them. And then, he teleports them into the Eclipse Cannon, where the plan officially begins. So over here at this point, the Eclipse Cannon going up into the air, you hear Eggman's theme playing. If you give a shit about this series like that, you noticed it. What's cool about it too is like, if you don't know this stuff, it just kind of like sounds like a menacing song, but if you're into it, like, oh my god, that's just Eggman's theme, which is so So cool. But yeah, you have sort of the ship rising up, right? You have Gerald, giving, Eggman the new suit, right? You have the boy where he puts it on. Now, in the meantime, Stone, oh, yeah, I forgot to mention this before, right? This is one of my favorite bits that happened before all this that I forgot to mention was Stone and Shadow are in the crab ship and they're watching the show and Gabrielle's like, you two should fight, right? And then Shadow's like, Gabriella should just kill them both. She is not a prize to be won. And just that moment just got everybody laughing at I genuinely think it's hysterical because it's so in Shadow to just be like, she should just kill him. Like, she's just not a prize to be won. If Stone questioning Shadow, I'd be like, that's dark even for you. What are you and the professor planning? He's just like, when we're done here, there won't be anything left to rule. Tails sort of like flushes out their ship, they get flushed out. And this is important to note because, Agent Stone calls Eggman and says like, I think they're letting on more than you know. And then this is the moment, the divorce, the breakup moment where like Eggman's like, you've been jealous of my poppy since the second. And by the way, when he calls him, you hear Eggman's theme, and then Eggman, you hear it on his phone. It's like a small bit, but it's there. But I love even in that moment, Stone be like, no, doctor, like no one else is gonna protect you. I can't be there to take care of you when you do this, right? It's never like a moment of anger. It's like sadness that like Eggman's just not listening to him, right? So he hangs up on him, right? They go into the sky, Eggman theme playing as they rise above, and Shadow just standing there. And that's them going into the stratosphere, right? You have Tom, taken to the ambulance, right? Clearly very injured. Sonic, Tails, Knuckles looking defeated. Even Maddie, right? Sort of looking at them in like sadness, like, what did we do? Like, this wasn't responsible. And this, I love that they did this. I love that they did this where like, Sonic's like, look what happened, man, and then Tails like, it's okay, like we'll take care of it. And then Sonic's like, it's okay. Does this look okay to you? No, I have to stop them now, no matter what. And then Knuckles is just like, hey, he's just trying to comfort you. And Sonic's just like, that's not what I need right now. We need to stop this, right? I need the Master Emerald. He's just like, no. And then this moment, I think every Sonic fan loves this, where the family here, like, this is where like the sibling brothership feels like it comes through the most here, where Tails is like, we said we wouldn't use the Master Emerald, like, we're supposed to be a team. And then Sonic's just like, I'm not asking twice, Knuckles. And he charges up like he's ready to fight Knuckles. Like, Sonic is driven by revenge at this point. And then Knuckles charges up. He's just like, you are in no condition to make decisions now, Hedgehog. And they're both doing the glory eyes, just like, tell me, move now, Knuckles. And then I love this dopest part of this movie of Knuckles powering down and be like, you know what? Like, it is still my duty to help each other. We're brothers, so I will tell you where it is, but you have to go through a challenger, a worthy opponent. And by all means, incredible payoff to the Knuckles show is Wade holding the Master Emerald, Wade holding the Master Emerald, playing hockey with it. Oh my dude, like, it's so traumatizing because you're told like the Master Emerald is this precious gem, and then you see like Wade playing hockey with you. You're just like, stop, please. This is so important, right? And obviously, again, movie universe, very different. But I love this moment where he is protecting it. Sonic gets it out of the portal. Bro, he looks like he is done at this point. He looks at him. He's just like, give it to me. He's like, Sonic, sorry. I told Knuckles I would protect this with my life. He just grabs it. He's like, well, I tried. And dude, right, the first time I saw this, I was in shock. So Sonic just does it. He just like gets the emerald, he powers through, he goes super, launches into the sky. It's just like, oh, okay, we're just doing this now. We now get this moment where Shadow and Gerald are standing above the earth, and Gerald tells Shadow like, we've done it, like, and Shadow's just like, is this what Maria would have wanted? And again, this is where you start seeing the crazy side of Gerald, right? Which I still like that they emphasize even in this movie, even though he's a more silly character. It's not about what Maria wanted, right? It's about what they took from us. Remember, Shadow, remember what they did to us, right? Because he needs Shadow to power up the cannon. And so Shadow has one more flashback, and that is to the day and the moment it happened, right? And so you have the moment where, the lights are flashing. Gerald comes to Shadow Maria, be like, kids, we have to go now, right? You have the gun shoulder aiming. You have Commander Walters commendably so back, like being the guy like, hey, wait, that's a kid. You can't do that. And then they shoot it into a sort of container and them blowing up, right? And give myself props. I had a feeling there was no way they were just gonna shoot her. I just felt like there was like, that would be too crazy for like a movie, you know, with the rating it did. I understand some people, again, the Maria plotline is very different, right? She's not sick. It's not about saving her from a disease. The gunshot is not the same, but I feel like they do, like I said, a good job. Maria's laid on the ground, right? Obviously, he's depressed, destroyed. You even see like Gerald just looking destroyed in that moment. You see the moment Shadow is getting angry with the zoom in, leading him to running and powering up the Eclipse cannon in modern day, which I thought was really cool. So while Shadow is doing that, right, you have Eggman and Gerald having a back and forth where Gerald tells Eggman his plan. Cannon, by the way, is going to explode the earth, and us too, by the way. Anything within a 25,000 radius. And then Gerald's just like, then Eggman's like, whoa, what are you crazy? Like, no, we can rule the world together, right? And then that's, again, this is you have full crazy Gerald where he's just like, I don't need this world, I have no family. Eggman be like, what about me? Like, am I not your family? Like, and he's just like, you're no Maria, right? He tells him you're weak, this planet took everything from you. It's like, god damn, bro, like, shit, you just you are locked in this moment, right? And then Shadow being like, hey, it's ready, right? And of course, once he does that, right, Shadow's just like, is Gun shooting missiles at us? And he's like, no, right? And then of course you have Sonic sweeping in, oh my god, into the peakest moments of my life that I wish I could go back to, right? You have Eggman holding a Sonic's goal and Star Goal, and it's like, no, it's him, right? Sonic, Super Sonic grabbing Shadow into space, being like, you, and then Shadow's just like, now you know the pain I felt for 50 years, right? It's just like, I'm nothing like you, we'll see about that. Shadow in the air reverses Sonic as he's in base, pushes Sonic down into like a crater area on Earth, and oh my god, bro, my life changed at this moment. Super Sonic looking around like, show yourself, coward. Bro, Shadow pulling up, dude, bro, he does the hand like this to knock the emeralds out of Sonic. It is so raw, bro. It is so cool how powerful Shadow is. They look at it, right? They go in for the jump. Boom! Explosion into the air, right? You get Sonic turning super, looking confident until he looks and sees that Shadow turned super. Oh my god. Yeah, he looks so perfect, bro. He looks so perfect. Oh my god, bro. Oh my god, dude, that's so good, right? And he's super, and it's over at that point. I mean, this is like, they're going at it, bro. Sonic tries to run into him. So Shadow does the most anime shit ever where he blocks it. The ground crumbles under them. Oh my god, it's so fucking cool. Oh my god, you guys are all freaking out. I know it, but I wish I could have seen every human being's reaction to it, dude, where he blocks him. Can you believe the trailer faked this out? You were right about one thing. This ends out in the trailer. He's not super, but in the movie, he's super. And then, bro, Shadow goes with the and then Sonic goes with the and then, bro, punches into mountains, bro. We are getting Saiyan-like level fights here where they're going at it back and forth with each other, and you hear like dun 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 dun. Like, you are hearing Live and Learn play as they're fighting with like an aggressive motif there, right? Dude, there's a moment where Shadow like puts Sonic into a mountain. He grabs him. Sonic grabs him, punches, bro, and then we are getting universal punches. You're getting punches that are going to different regions. There's a punch they do where you see one of the shots is in the pyramid area from Sonic Adventure 2, which is fucking awesome, right? And they're punching, they're going back and forth, right? You have the Eggman looking at them, being like, where are they? And they're like, look, over here. And then Eggman punches Gerald. He starts to attack him, you know, he does the defense thing. He pulls up like his giant hand, then he chases him, smacks him, cuts back to Sonic and Shadow. Bro, punches until they get to this fucking sick looking sanctuary type spot. It almost looks like the spot in Sonic Adventure 2 where Rouge and Knuckles meet for the first time. And bro, this scene, man, prophetic, angelic, incredible, right? Where like Shadow is like standing above like an angel, like a demon, right? As Sonic's done. Where are your friends? What's happened? What kind of hero abandons his friends to pursue revenge, right? They told you to stop, didn't they? Right? But you wanted to keep going. It's just like, and he's just like, don't talk about my family. It's just like, and I thought you were different, right? I thought you cared for them. What was his name? Tom, right? And oh my god, Sonic into the boom, right? And they do the most 10 out of 10 anime shit ever, where it does the triple camera, where Sonic gets an uppercut. It shows you a different angle of him getting shot up, and then it goes like a zoomed in angle from the front of Sonic knocking him up, bro. Punch all the way into the fucking moon, bro. Oh, the most locked in Sonic moment ever, bro. Knocked up all the way to the moon that deforms Shadow into base on the moon. Sonic grabbing him, being like, don't talk about my family. Oh, he's like, he's crashing out, bro. And dude, Shadow, this is actually really depressing on rewatches where like Shadow is ready to die. He's just like, come on, do it. Finish it. I'm right here. I'm right. Do it. Like, get your revenge. What are you waiting for? And he's pointing at his chest, leading Sonic to breathe, right? Think about the moment that Tom tells him, like, you didn't let it change who you are in here, right? And then it leads Sonic to calm down a little. Deep power. He's just like, no, this isn't who I am. And Shadow's just like, why didn't you do it? Why didn't you get your revenge? Right? He's just like, no one wins with revenge, right? And dude, one of my, oh God, I love this movie. One of my favorite moments is their heart-to-heart on the moon, right? And I love the heart-to-hearts, you know, because movie 1, you know, you have the heart-to-heart between Sonic and Tom early on. Movie 2, you get Sonic and Knuckles on the beach, right? And then movie 3 with Sonic and Shadow on the moon, just being like, I felt your pain before, you know? And Shadow's just like, well, does the pain ever go? And Sonic's like, no, you know, but I discovered something different, you know, and that's like the love of other people, you know, and then you'll always carry that pain, but it'll be okay because you have others with you, right? And of course you have the incredible moon shot, the light shot, where Shadow's just like a star shines even though the light is gone, right? And, you know, Shadow having the moment, you know, the switch up moment, which I thought overall the switch up moment, I think was still really good. I think they handled it as well as they could with having a heartfelt moment that didn't feel like an exact one-to-one of the Knuckles one, but still felt raw as hell, just because it was such more of a planet level destruction in their fight. They see the Eclipse getting Amy on her, Shadow be like, this mess is all my fault, right? And then Sonic's just like, hey, sometimes in life, you're gonna make some bad choices, but you know, it's time we lock in, bro. Into the grab, into one of the coolest shots in cinema. I can't wait to have this in 4K, 5K, 10K. The dab bump into super. Both of them turn to me is the most glorious shot I've ever seen in my life, bro. It is so 10 out of 10 out of 10 out of 10 out of 10, right? They both turn in, and then you get the live and learn with the lyrics, bro. It's obviously fewer lyrics, right? But they do it. They do the music. They have them flying together up side by side. It is glorious, bro. It is glorious. So it then cuts, you know, to Gerald and Eggman as they're coming through. They see them on the glass, be like, I see Shadow, you've chosen betrayal, right? And obviously this is the scene that, you know, people have an issue with. There's some stupid little fight that they have in the middle. I think that part is like super lame, to be frankly honest with you. I would have almost rather they threw hands. That one is just a little too silly in a moment of raw energy. But man, when it cuts back to Sonic and Shadow, oh my god, bro, you get the dynamic. It's so fucking good, and they're destroying all the robots together. You're getting Shadow like using his booster to kick one of them. You're getting them holding each other, spinning into other robots. It is just glorious. It is unbelievable. It is so raw. It is so cool. And then of course they do the moon shot, but it is them in super, and it is the best version of the shot they have ever done by a million miles. It is so cool. I was like a baby. I was losing my mind. So we get one more cut to the Eggmen fighting, you know, gnawing at each other until Gerald actually, you know, ends up pushing Eggman off the ledge, being like, is there anything you want to say to me? Eggman being like, well, I was gonna say, you know, something nice, not anymore. So he pushes him down, full Gerald supervillain mode. He gets pushed down. Tails, Knuckles grab Eggman, and I thought this was hilarious. I think everyone agrees. The way they bolted Gerald into the thing and he's gone, I thought was really funny. Again, obviously I understand Gerald's a very serious character, but killing him like that I thought was so fucking funny, because at least they kill him, you know, but the way they do is just so funny, right? Anyway, so they do that, right? You have these, oh, also they have these egg bots that Gerald summoned right before, and oh my god, bro, you know, Sonic is right. Oh dude, when Sonic is telling Shadow, is like, you ready to take care of some tin cans, and then Shadow goes, just try to keep up. What do you do with the arm swing? Oh my god, oh my god, It's just so raw. And they're going through the final wave of robots. And Shadow does the chaos spears, bro. Double, triple, the zoom outs. I don't know how they did this shit. It's fucking unreal. It's crazy. Like, Jesus fucking Christ, man. It's so OD, bro. It is so OD. I couldn't believe that shit. Anyways, it does that. Now, Sonic and Shadow are trying to stop the Eclipse cannon from firing on the Earth. They're holding it side by side like the original game. Eggman, Tails, Knuckles are trying to swing it as Team Sonic is pushing it, right? You then have the moment where Sonic is losing power. Sonic is falling down, and they do manage to push the laser. Really funny moment here where this is how they end up doing the moon cut in half, right? Where like the laser like moves completely, and then you just see them cut the moon. I love how people in the theater were cheering for this. Like, oh, they did it! They did the moon break, right? And I just love the reaction, like, dude, look what you did. So I love that. I thought that was a super good way to still do the moon destruction, right? I thought that was super awesome of them. I'm glad they did that shit. So they do the moon destruction. Sonic is falling. Knuckles and Tails try to save him. Knuckles doing, a cute moment with Tails, tossing him down. Tails trying to save him. I do wish Tails was the one to have saved Sonic, right? Just so he could have his little moment. But, it ends up being the big montage moment. He's trying to save him. Knuckles tries to go down to save him. At this point, Shadow is trying to push the ship as far as possible, and he says to Eggman, like, this is one more thing we could do to make things right. He's doing everything to push the Eclipse cannon away. He even takes off the inhibitor rings, and it's fucking raw as hell, right? He's doing all that. In the meantime, Eggman is trying to soften the blow, and he gives a speech, right? The announcement speech dedicated to Agent Stone, and my heart melted here. Super adorable moment here where, Eggman tells, this message is dedicated to you, Stone. Like, you were my one true friend, and I care about you, right? And, Stone's just like, no, doctor, please. And, I thought it was so adorable, right? I thought it was so cool. It's just like, I'm gonna miss your Austria gold milk. I love the way you make it. And all the dialogue Eggman was saying in this scene felt very much like finale like, right? He does the little the robot thing from the first movie. He basically pulls out all the references and things he said, but I thought it was super adorable. I just gave Stone that moment, to tell him, yes, like, I did care about you, because he was the one thing. He was the one thing on Earth that cared about him. And I thought that moment was so sweet. Anyway, Shadow goes for one more push. Explosion happens. We see nothing. Knuckles saves Tails and Sonic, right? Gets them onto the ground. You have the cue moment with Team Sonic be like, sorry that, all that happened. We should just be a team from now on, not Team Sonic. I love how he gives them a hug. They huddle up, just become, a family as they should. That sad moment where Stone, looks at him and says, goodbye, doctor. And he walks away. Lights fade, and then we're basically at the end of the movie, right? You have Tom and Maddie, Sonic, Tails, Knuckles having a cute moment back to the birthday party, right? Then they're just hanging out together. They end up wanting to do one more moment, right, where they do the race from the beginning. They're like, let's finish what we started here. They get together, they go for the race, go into the sunset, into the credits, which again, just that entire final segment was so raw, so incredibly well done, full of emotion, hype, joy, comedy. Like, I just thought it was so good. And even the credits, by the way, I loved, obviously, people have different opinions about the song, but I love that they went with, like, low poly aesthetic for it this time. I love when they do these for all the movies, and just seeing them low poly doing all the references. I wonder what's going to be next to me. At that point, it's just going to be Marza animating just like an end cutscene. That would be really cool. But yeah, so you have that in there, and then of course our post-credit scene, which I talked about at length in the last video, but obviously we're doing a summary of every scene. Yeah, you then have the first post-credit scene over here where Sonic, finished the race but went too far, quote unquote. We don't know how far he went or what's going on there, but yeah, you get that. Metal Sonic shows up, dude. Metal Sonic, I cannot believe how one-to-one that character looks. Just fucking psychopath. Psychopathic levels of accuracy that Tyson has did there. He's chasing Sonic. Sonic, of course, dialogue a little different there, right? Just like more spunky, more like cool, where he's just like, hey man, nice shot. Like, you're gonna have to do better if you want to destroy the fastest thing alive. He punches it, right? He's just like, just try to keep up. He hits it with that dialogue bit. You get an army of metals all around, and to the moment where he gets surrounded, and then Amy with the hammer going all around, dude, into the half moonshot, which looks incredible. She looks perfect. I mean, like I said, I wouldn't change a hair on her body. I wouldn't change the hair on her face. I cannot wait till we see her full fit, like under the cape. I hope she has like her actual cute fit, but she looks perfect. I love her so much. And then you get post-credit scene 2, which is just the inhibitor ring on the ground. Shadow's shoe, and he grabs it. And that is Sonic Movie 3, scene by scene, word for word. Yeah. Am I crazy for doing this? Absolutely. Did I just want to yap about every single scene in the movie one by one? Absolutely. I love it. You know, talking about it, action is hype. Movie just go. Super well done. Crazy action. I was so happy with it. So guys, out of all these scenes I described, what was your favorite? What did you love the most? Guys, I love you. Thank you all for watching. You're the best. And of course, I will see you all next time. Peace out.